we're standing in front of one of your artworks. Can you tell us a little bit about the process of how you go about building up a piece? Because it seems to have a lot of layers. It's got a lot of layers in the
It does, and for me that's what makes it so interesting, is that I can keep creating these layers with found objects and imported papers and just common things like corrugated board. But it basically starts, of course, with the substrate of either illustration board or watercolor paper, and I work on canvas as well. And I start by building it up with laying down the imported tissue papers that have fibers in them, and I crinkle it so that when I finally apply the paint and then later on scrape it off, you're going to get those layers. And then I decide where I want to incorporate the gold leaf. I design that into the overall surface. And then I select my palette for the day or the week or however long it's going to take me to complete a painting. And I start layering in loose shapes. And I keep turning the painting around, stepping back from it, studying it. It's a long process because I don't do any pre-planning. I like that. I like it to be spontaneous. It's more interesting for me. It's more challenging. I find it extraordinarily interesting to be able to find all these different objects and tie it in to this completed painting. And people always ask me the question, well, when do you know when you're done? And I was giving that some thought the last painting I was doing, and I just realized when there was nothing else to do. There was no other shape, no other line, no other spatter, and the painting looked good. It looked beautiful, and I knew it was ready for framing. That's when I knew it was done.
Could you just tell us a little bit how you made the transition into doing this kind of work? Because your original training was in quite a different sort of area of painting, wasn't it?
It was. I was a watercolorist professionally for 16 years. I studied that, and I did realistic paintings, but not traditionally realistic. They were more Art Deco, more edgy. And the more as the years went on, I found myself incorporating abstract shapes into the floral paintings or a scene that I was doing, and I thought, I really want to be an abstract painter. Why am I doing this? And that was around 1999, and that's when I began playing around. I had to switch from watercolors to acrylics. Not that I had to, but I wanted to switch from watercolors to acrylics. It's an easy medium to work with, but you have to teach yourself how to paint all over again. But it was a lot of fun, and it was a learning process. For me, I had to put my ego aside because in my mind, when I started, I didn't think the work was all that good. But over a year or two later, I found that I really was beginning to like what I was doing and enjoying it even more. And I was selling right from the get-go. The more I sold, the more I got away from the florals and the realistic work.
Right. Do the people who buy your paintings, do they see the same things in the painting that you see? I mean, do they appreciate the same sort of qualities in them, do you think?
They love the texture, they love the shapes, and they'll come up to the painting. It's almost like a Rorschach test. They'll say, oh, look at this, I see this in it, or I see that in it. Something I hadn't intended, but just happened naturally, but they see it, and it becomes more personal. I don't tell them what to see. That's part of what makes the painting interesting. I don't tell them what to think. I don't tell them what to see. They come to that decision on their own. And they love it for how unusual the work is, and that it's so vibrant and different. And the thing I keep hearing repeated back to me so frequently is, I've never seen anything like this before. And that's the way I want it. I don't want to be like every other abstract painter. And I'm not.